Good morning. We are up to Taf Kuf Gimel. The Hachana. Aser lafois levasha olishcha biyonta v'tzarach machar. It's aser to go ahead and to bake or cook or anything for the next day. Afilu Shabbos or Yom Tov. Even if even for Shabbos, unless you have Erev Tashilin, or for the second day Yom Tov, or even for 2 days Rosh Hashanah, which you say is one Yom Arichta, it's one long day. Afal Pike, it's still also to prepare to do melacha from one for the next day. Aval memale isha kedera basar avavisha in tzvicha el chaticha achas. Now there is a bit of a harama. It's not really a harama. We'll see about that. Someone could do is that you can go ahead and well, first of all, of course, number one is okay. I'll explain this and whatever. If you have a bunch of pieces of meat, you only need one for Shabbos lunch or for Yom Tov lunch. You're allowed to put in a whole bunch of pieces and even though you'll have left over and you'll have it for the night, you're allowed to do that because if the more pieces are in the pot, the better the one piece will cook. So therefore, it's not a straight harama. It's that it's mishabeach the food, and if you have extra, you have extra. So therefore, that would be mutter. But they say that if it's something which is like a fiyah, you want to bake an extra 20 cookies or something like that would be a problem because they're not baking. One doesn't help the other. By cooking meat and stuff, it takes a better dish. And just the same way, if something's whole, like a whole chicken, even though you need part of the chicken, it's a whole chicken. You don't have to cut it up, whatever. You're allowed to go ahead and cook a whole chicken. But the pshat is that it's a bit of a harama, but there's a tzarech l'ayom also, so it's okay. Right there, it's pasha b'shchita because what are you going to do? You say, oh no, whatever. You get a little piece of meat, you're allowed to shech the whole animal. And also, you are allowed to go ahead and make a bunch of pots and eat just a little bit. This gets a little bit, this is a little bit controversial. Because the question is, number one, shaila is, can you go ahead and have straight kavana to go ahead and I'm cooking for the night, and you're going to go ahead and, let's say, an hour before Shkia, everyone has like a little, you go ahead and you take a little piece of everything. So if you go ahead and you have mamish have like a little like shalashidus type thing, and you have like a small meal and give your kids a piece of potato kugel, like actual pieces so they're not hungry, alright, seder, there's no problem. But the thing is, even if for the rest of everyone, because you have using it now, but if you're not giving out portions, you're just taking a little bit from each thing. So then, when the Ramah says it says that's okay. However, the Ramah's talking about if you're going to eat it by Chassidus Shachris, by the main meal, you're going to give a little bit out for everything. And also, point out that we're talking about where it's a bunch of different dishes. But if it's one dish, let's say you make a huge batch of potato kugel and you make a few pans, and you take a little bit from each pan, that's not going to help because that's pasha that you made extra. But so therefore, you're allowed to just go ahead and eat a little bit. However, there are those who are machmir because it seems like it's a straight harama. Mishur does bring achrayim who are machmir that if you have let's say by the meat that just to go ahead and just to eat a little bit before Shkia. Listen, if you did it, you did it, but you shouldn't do it. L'chachila, you shouldn't do it. The oil is mekel, although yesh machmir, it's better not to do it if if you can avoid it. Let's say if you realize that, oh my gosh, I don't have enough food and it's going to be it's Shavuos, it's going to be really late, I don't know, whatever, and you want to, so fine, so, you can, I guess you can, a person could be samech on it, achol panim, but for chol, for if you want to do it for Yom Chol, that already is a bit more chamor. V'davka kodem, back to the Shulchan Aruch, kodem achila. That's only before you eat your meal you're allowed to do it. Aval achar achila, eino l'chola levashel, lomar echol menu kazayis. After the meal, the wife can't go ahead and cook something and say, here, take a kazayis. The havi harama, that's a straight harama. And straight haramas, we're not matir. Let's say, like I said, let's say she realizes that it's a long day, Shavuos, it's a long day, and they ate early, and so she wants to, and there's no more food. Her kids are hungry, so she wants to put up food. That would be okay. Because you're doing it for them, even though if you have kavanah for the night also, even though it's pshat is before achila, I mean, you're actually going to have a meal out of it, not just, take a few bites. If Shitaka did it and was making, it's mutter to go ahead and eat it. This comes out funny. Shura points out it does come out funny that here mazid it could be more makel than the harama. Harama could be those who are more machmir because you shouldn't do haramas. You did amazing. Okay, fine. So we'll be matir. But if taka, I remember once we didn't. However, it was it was Rosh Hashanah, whatever it was. It was 2 days, and we tried cooking, and the food didn't. And we only realized that the food, we put it up, and we realized the food didn't cook. So what do we do? What do you do? Try to eat it. Yeah, it was all shayla. You have to be careful playing around with these things.
What's the story?
We put food up, but it didn't. I don't know. We ate the food late and didn't cook well, and the food didn't cook well before Shkia. And
so you could on Yom
it cooked on Yom Tov, but we couldn't eat it on that day. It wasn't edible. I don't know. So it's b'diavad. They tried. It's not also okay. It's mutter la'achla b'diavad. It wasn't still. It was b'diavad.
What's the shear of tzaz? You have this concept of
kazayis. It seems like a kazayis. That's Lashon Shulchan Aruch is. She can't give a kazayis. L'achol tzaz means a kazayis.
So if she eats a kazayis from it, it should be okay.
Well, no, I think more than no. It has to be more. Listen, right? If it's a bunch of dishes, you're right. She doesn't have to eat a huge piece from each thing. But the point is that if you have one dish, you say, "Here, take a kazayas." That's not enough. It has to be like you're actually eating something. More than it's not a shir. It's more than a shir achila. It's more of a because the lashon of the Shulchan Aruch is that aval achar achila any yachol vashav v'lomer oichel menu kazayas.
Yeah.
So if it's before Shachar, right? If it's before Shacharis and by the meal, it could be even less than the kazayas. You're being toim it, it's okay. But if it's after the meal, the harama is very clear. Then actually you have to actually eat something. That a nachtom can go ahead and fill a whole. He'll fill a whole pot of water to cook. He only needs one keton. But you have to put all the water by the eish at one. Also but you can't add more. By basar you're allowed to add more because it's mashbiach. But by water, putting more water in doesn't make it, how much water you have in the pot. You're allowed to go ahead and fill an urn, whatever it is you want to, you need hot water, you're allowed to fill the whole thing. That's okay. But if you filled half and it's getting hot, you're not allowed to go ahead and be, this is, b'cheshbon for tzarech halayla, you're not allowed to go ahead and, you can have like a cup of tea or whatever and roast it to tzarech halayla. You're not allowed to just add more once it's hot, stop add more. Because it's extra tircha l'tzarech halayla.
Unless it's Shabbos and you have Erev Tashilin, or
Erev Shabbos, Erev Tashilin, right? Right. Tavlin b'Yom Tov. This is really more the dinim of a bit of teichen on Yom Tov. Dachen is a tavlin kedarkan. You're allowed to go ahead and smash or grind up, pulverize is a good word. Tavlin kedarkan shim yodu choisam b'yoyim yafik taman. That if you go, because by spices, anyone knows that if you have fresh spices, it tastes much better, have more flavor than the ones you buy in the store, which are, whatever, how long they've been sitting around. They actually taste better. So if it's normal for people to go ahead and to do fresh spices, then you can do it on Yom Tov. Toichin even. Aval melach edom nidach b'Yom Tov. You can't grind up melach. Unless you tilt it or you do it in some shinu, you're allowed, you don't have enough, you have a big thing of salt, you want to smash it out, you have to do it with a shinui. Because melach doesn't lose taste. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you have a pepper grinder. Is that because technically a pepper grinder would be fine for Yom Tov because it tastes much better. So that will be okay to use. But it could be. I'm not sure if when it says in Shulchan a pilpulin b'Chaim shalahem, is it talking about like a professional grinder and they have a special that wouldn't be, or maybe no, even pepper grinder might be uvdin dechol. I'm not sure. However, you can go ahead and you can go ahead and grind the pepper and crush them. Crush them. That term that you can crush them like anything else. The Ramah says the minig is still to do a bit of a shinui. However, you would do a shinui. I don't know if you have a mortar and pestle, maybe push it up instead of push it. I don't know, whatever the shinui is going to be. It became very laharis that you shouldn't go ahead and do that. Right. So therefore, there is a heter to go ahead and to we'll see in a second. They have teichen and Yom Tov. Because it's tzarech achila, the hechsher oichem, it is mutter, like we have by Bishul. But let's see, mutter laholich. Mutter laholich tavlin madoch etzemaducha. You're allowed to go ahead and even carry tavlin or the mortar or maducha etzlan. You can go ahead and carry these things in Rishus Harabim. Feel derech Rishus Harabim. Efshar laholicha me'erev Yom Tov. Still, this is considered l'tzarech, and that's okay. You're allowed to carry even if it's not not l'tzarech harabim like for it means for after Yom Tov, but for something even some sort of tzarech on Yom Tov, it's fine. Not sure. This Shabura says v'chashin dila mamalech v'yoduch. Maybe we're talking about a situation where it's not something you need 100%. You're allowed to carry. You're allowed to take it. Let's say you're going to someone's house, take some.
I'm sure if you're going to need it.
You're not 100% sure. You want to cook over there, so you might need it. But you can't say 100%. Ain't kodesh harifa is machteshes gedola. You can't crush rifa. I'm not sure what rifa says. That is with a big machteshes. Yeah, I don't remember what I thought it was stocks, but I don't remember. But kodesh machteshes katana, but you're allowed to use a small crusher. Shazehu ashinu shalav. That because it's usually done. These are big things, and they're usually done in large on a large kli. It's I thought it's wheat. It's kernel with the kernels and the stalks. Kodesh machteshes katana, you can use a small one because that's a shinui. Ube'eretz Yisrael afilu katana aser, because they didn't used to do a lot. In Eretz Yisrael, I guess the minig was time of the Chaber was to just do a bit at a time. So therefore, it is the derech. So we have no idea what's gedolo katana. Yesh les or a call that you shouldn't go ahead and use any machteshes to go ahead and to smash up the wheat kernels. Hagab Umuter ligor gvina v'yamtav ala klish umori charutz. Now you're allowed to go ahead and use a cheese grater on Yom Tov. Even though, on Shabbos, it's not kedulei karka, so you are allowed to go ahead and grind up cheese, but it can't be with a kli miyuchad.
You're allowed to do it because it's not in this.
It's not kedulei karka. Yeah.
It's not the rice.
It's not that's right. It's mutter. It's not kedulei karka. It's not grinding. It's not teichen.
So it's not even also the rabbanan, except for
if you use a kli.
only
Within the chol. But here, by Yom Tov, it's mutter. However, since it is a little within the chol, so therefore you should do a little bit of a shinui for using a cheese grater.
the point of the milk was that you could have done it before. We're not saying that about the cheese.
It could be the cheese also. I mean, the cheese.
It's not as good if it's done a day old.
I've heard that. I don't know. It's right. It could be. It could be even if it's not as good. It could be even if it's not as good. But since it's not kedulei karka, that's that's not sheni v'heter. Who did matzah is below shinu. You want to make matzah meal, and so then you're allowed to do it below shinu. Mishum the ein tchina ba'ochlin shahayu tchunin tchila. Again, the din is by Shabbos ein tchina chetchina, and you were allowed to go ahead and make matzah meal. The problem is you can't use a kli on Yom Tov. You're allowed to go ahead and use a kli because hechsher ochel. You're allowed to use a kli. I get a bit of a shino, I guess, whatever. But that would be mutter. You want to make ground meat. You'd be allowed to use a hand grinder, but do it with a shino. However you would do that, do it with your left hand. I don't know, whatever it is, you would be allowed to go ahead and do that. Mutter adam limdoi tablin litin mikdera. You're allowed to go ahead and to measure out tavlin for the food. Bishvil shelo yakdiach tavshilo. You don't go ahead and put too much pepper in, too much salt, too much any of these things. You're gonna ruin the food, so you're allowed to measure it out. Tavlin, that you don't put too much in. However, the place can do say, however, if a person's derech is to go ahead and to cook without measuring. The chiluk between my wife and my daughter about whether you measure or not. My daughter says, "Well, you just throw everything in; it comes out great." So if you go ahead and a person cooks and and he knows better how much he puts in or whatever, then measuring it would be a problem. Din hachoylev, right? Hachoylev, behema shehi omedes la'achila, an animal which is omedes for achila. V'rotza lachla v'yisalech l'chol. And you want to go ahead and milk this cow to get on Yom Tov. Im l'kedera she'em ba'ochlin. Also, if it's straight into a kedera that there's nothing there, so then it's noilad. Right? You just put into a bucket. It's noilad, and therefore be also to use. Yesh ba'ochlin mutter. However, if there's ochlin, you don't see the milk that's nivla into the other food, so it's not. We won't consider it noilad, and that's mutter.
Nothing to do with dash.
No, dash would be, doesn't do with that. Dash would be mutter again. So eichel nefesh, it would be mutter. I don't know, you want cereal? I don't know about cereal, but whatever, you want fresh milk for cereal. Oh, sheyesh ba piruin v'chalav nivla behem, or if you have crumbs and you want to make matzah brai, so you milk into the matzah and whatever, so then that would be okay. That if you want to milk all your cattle, all your sheep, lo huter if they prusa shalosim b'kli. It's not you're not matrit to go ahead and I need some for the kli, so I'll put it in the kli and I'll just milk it. It doesn't doesn't work.
50-gallon drum with a little bit of cereal on the bottom.
Right. Right, and any Yehudi who's milking and the Yid is watching him, right, because otherwise it wouldn't be Chol Yisrael. Yesh lahakel that you can be makel to go ahead and because there's no nola by a goy. We don't say there's nola by a goy, especially here that you said there is a heter. The empty thing, but there are achreinim who do say that you still need to put into food. Al Chapanim, that even though it's only la'achila even if it's only la'achila, not for chaliva, it's still be mutter because it's a goyis. Achnagu ba'as, but the meaning is less or ve'ein l'shanos. The same din is by Yisrael. Miu b'yantav shagolius, mutar b'yantav sheni. However, the meaning is the hakel and yantav sheni for goyis to milking a cow. V'mutar loymar a Yehudi lachlav b'masai b'shavis. If it's mutar to tell a goy to yicholev his animal on Shabbos ayin la'el, well that's mutar and the yemir la'akum and mutar the hami chalav alasos gvina b'yantav and looking ayin l'kaman. Whether you're allowed to go ahead and make cheese on Yom Tov. I think maybe we'll stop here.